You will never get beyond scarcity. You have to start beyond scarcity. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about financial mindset because I think there's a huge disconnect going on between what wealth is and what financial independence is. And what most people think is they need financial independence before they can ever feel wealthy. And I'm telling you, wealth and financial independence are two very, very different things. And this is important for anyone, no matter what stage of the game you are at. We're gonna have a financial conversation today. So my name is Brad Bizjack. Welcome to the Path to Mindset Mastery podcast. I'm a personal development expert and I have 9 years of coaching experience. And I took my business from $92,000 in debt to a multiple $1,000,000 business in just a couple of years. And I am obsessed with helping entrepreneurs come alive to their limitless possibilities. And today, we're gonna talk about this idea of financial independence versus wealth. And when I ask people, what does it take to feel wealthy? What most people will say is it takes X amount of dollars. It takes $1 million or $2 million or $10 million. That's what it's gonna take to be wealthy. And here's the challenge with that. Don't you know people that have a ton of money but are broke? Let me ask you, seriously, think about that. Who do you know that has money but is still not truly wealthy? They don't feel alive, they don't feel vibrant, they don't feel energetic and grateful each day. This is one of the biggest myths that I see in business owners, thinking that when you achieve a certain amount of dollars and cents, all of a sudden you'll feel something. That's not how money works. In fact, if you believe that and you keep on going through your life thinking, once I make that much money, once I'm out of credit card debt, once I have these beautiful blessings in my life, like a nice house or a fancy car or whatever it is, then I'll feel something different. And what I've discovered over the course of my personal development journey is that financial independence and wealth are two very, very, very different things. Let me ask you something. Can someone be wealthy if they don't have financial independence? Yes. You can be wealthy if you don't have financial independence. So what is wealth and what is financial independence? Financial independence is the dollars and cents. It's the I can afford to do what I want, when I want, with who I want, wherever I want, right? It's the life on your terms, and money is a beautiful thing. It allows you to do incredible things. That's financial independence. It's something that you can measure. It's dollars and cents. Wealth is an emotion. It is something you feel. It's something you live. And what I discovered recently is that wealth always comes before, I should say wealth is more likely to create financial independence. Wealth comes before financial independence. And so what is wealth? Wealth is this idea of feeling electric, feeling alive, feeling vibrant, feeling abundant, feeling ease and peace and not worried about things. An abundant mindset is a high energy, grateful, appreciative mindset. And if you believe that you need to have money before you can feel that, think about the consequences of what that will do. The entire pathway of building your financial independence will be met with frustration and fear and doubt and worry. And if your entire pathway of building financial independence is met with fear and doubt and worry and all those things, are you likely to achieve financial independence? Likely not, because think about this. When you're feeling doubt and fear and worry, two things. What do you tend to do? You likely tend to spend money on things that don't matter. And on top of that, you're likely low energy, fearful, so you don't take the risks that will actually create more wealth in your life. Does that make sense? And so what we want to do is adopt a mindset of wealth so that we can feel alive and vibrant to create all of the success and financial independence that we want. See, I was always the guy that when I started off my personal development journey, I would always see these people that had what I wanted. And I don't just mean in terms of money. Money was definitely a thing. They had money, but it was more than that. They had this vibrancy, they had this aliveness, they had this passion, this zest for life. And I grew up in a house where it was always said that people with money think they're better than other people. I remember multiple times hearing like, oh, well, I grew up in a town called Palatine, Illinois. And there was a town next door called Inverness, Illinois, and had all these really nice houses. We didn't have this huge, nice house. We had a fine house, but we didn't have this huge mansion like there was in Inverness or South Barrington, Illinois, that was right by us. And I remember driving by those towns, and people in my life would always say, well, they have money. They're the snobby people, right? And I always had this belief that wealth was this conflicting thing. I thought it was this thing that would mean you were rejected by people. And I grew up kind of feeling like money would lead to being loved. I would see whenever there was tension in my family, it was about money. And there were fights that went on about money. And so I thought that you needed money in order to feel loved. And if you didn't have money, you weren't worthy of love. And that people that had money were not cool, that they were bad. And so I remember seeing that growing up and always having these challenging times trying to get ahead financially. I noticed when I got out of college, or even in college, I remember one semester in college, I spent $7,000 on alcohol and partying and frat stuff and all that, with no regard for my financial independence at all. And I would just kind of throw money away. And I would hear these things like I'm talking about in this episode and be like, yeah, okay, so I can just spend money and just do what I want. But it's very, very different than that, because when I got out of college, something interesting started to happen. I noticed that even if I got promoted in my corporate job when I got out of college, I still didn't have any money left over. It was interesting. It was because all of a sudden I was making more money than I've ever made before, but for some reason it kept disappearing. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Why is this? Why is this money always gone? Why do I always feel like there's never enough? And when I got in the business space, one of the things that I was always told was to invest in your personal growth. And the immediate thought I had was, I don't have the money to do that, right? Those are the immediate thoughts I had. I don't have the money to do that. But then if I took a look at my behaviors, I was spending money on other dumb stuff, right? And so I started to look around, though, at all the people that had what I wanted. All the people that had true wealth, which was financial abundance and positivity and love and joy, where they were truly wealthy on the inside and in financial terms. And I started to take a look at them, and all of them saw life in a very different way, where no matter what happened in their financial circumstances, and this is in their stories back in the beginning, no matter what happened in their financial circumstances, they found a way to feel alive. They found a way to feel vibrant. They found a way to invest in themselves. They found a way to see money as something that's ever flowing, something that's abundant, something that's you can always feel, and always have. And so I remember looking at that, and I had this moment. It was back in 2013 where I took a look at everyone in my life that didn't have what I wanted, people that were struggling financially. And the common thread with them was that money would make them feel something. When I have more money, I'll feel better. When I have more money, I'll feel more alive, more vibrant, more happy, whatever it is. And they would always say that money was the cause of an emotion, and that they could feel better when they had more. And they always never had enough, right? They were always struggling paycheck to paycheck. Even if they got a pay raise, it would disappear. And the conversations around money were always tense. And there were words like, not necessarily really, really dark words like money is the root of all evil, but I noticed that people in my life that didn't have money were saying things like, well, people with money are greedy. Or people with money, they don't understand what we have to go through. Or they're different than us. Right? And I remember just thinking there was this weird vibe of tension around it. But then when I took a look at everyone that had money, there was this freedom, not just in terms of what they could do, but how they felt, how they lived, how they moved, their day-to-day life. And part of me was like, well, it's easy for them. They had money. But then I got to thinking, well, what came first? Was it the money or was it the feeling? I was listening to a Robert Kiyosaki YouTube video years ago, and he said something powerful that made a huge impact in my life. He said, poor people are greedy. And I remember thinking, what? I was poor. I remember thinking, what are you talking about? What do you mean poor people are greedy? No. He goes, you don't understand. In order to become truly wealthy, you have to give something. You have to give some part of you. You have to add value to the world in some way. That's how you truly become financially independent, how you create wealth in terms of finances. And poor people, he said, poor people always take. They're always like, what's happening to me? Why is it harder for me? This is my situation. It's harder in my circumstances. You don't understand it. You have money. You don't understand my situation. I remember that made a huge impact in my life. And so I started looking around and changing the way that I viewed money. I read books. I went to seminars. I actually just finished another wealth seminar. Went to seminars and read books, and all of this incredible stuff started to happen where I started to realize there was a difference between wealth and financial independence, where wealth was a feeling, a vibrancy, and financial independence was measured in the bank account. And I realized that if I wanted to become financially independent, I had to be wealthy first. Now that is a counterintuitive thought to most people. And so how do I become wealthy first? Well, if wealth is defined as the vibrancy of your emotions, like think about it, if you would think about someone that's truly wealthy in all terms of the word, there's someone that gives and loves and serves and feels alive and feels happy. Like not toxic happy, like genuinely happy. I was like, okay, how do I do that? And I remember thinking, okay, all of these people that have what I wanted, they go to seminars, they invest in courses, books, all these things. And so I started studying those things. I started studying wealth, and I started investing in myself before I ever could, before the dollars and cents made sense. I remember there was this one $5,000 seminar, and I was making $24,000 a year as a group fitness instructor. There was this one $5,000 seminar. So this is literally a fifth of my income. And I remember investing in that, and everyone in my life told me it was one of the stupidest decisions I've ever made. They're like, you're not going to be able to survive. You can barely you can barely buy groceries right now. How are you ever going to do that? And what I used to do before those moments is I would buy a course, return a course, buy a course, return a course, like because I wanted that success, but I would get rid of the opportunity to create it because I got back to scarcity. I got back to the feeling of there's never enough, that money is this limited pie that I have to earn, which is BS. But then when I heard Robert Kiyosaki talk, I remember it shifted me. I remember thinking, okay, they are all saying, all these successful people are saying, invest in yourself before you can. And so I started getting in the room with these people, investing before I could, and I started to rewire my mind. I started to notice that my subconscious mind was changing. I started to feel more alive, more vibrant, and everything started to shift. I started to understand money in a different way. I started to understand business in a different way, and it changed our entire lives. Millions of dollars of revenue, thousands of lives changed all over the world. And it makes it then easier to create more financial independence. And so I used to think that money was this little pie that you had to earn and work hard for. And I realized the only thing that did was made me feel scarce, made me feel worried, made me feel less than, made me feel like I had to be deserving of my sliver. But then I realized that success is this ever-expanding pie. There is no pie. It's just this ever-expanding thing that everyone can have. And once I realized that, I realized I didn't need to be deserving. I didn't need to be the hard worker that always did more and more and more, thinking that would somehow create success. Like seriously, don't you know people that work their butt off and don't have financial wealth? Like it's not about working harder. It's about alignment and feeling vibrant, because then you take the action that will actually create success. And so if I take a look at my life before, the consequences of not shifting this were pretty severe. I remember feeling like, do I really want to end up like my parents? Do I really want to end up going through the same exact challenges of too much month at the end of the money, always feeling broke, always feeling less than, always feeling like I didn't have enough? But if I shifted this, just maybe I could become like one of those people. I could become one of the few that is different. One of the few that is that transition person in their family. One of the few that was the person that broke the chains of mediocrity, of status quo. And so I remember, and there was a moment when I had an opportunity to hire a coach. And I remember saying to myself, I was $92K in debt. I remember saying to myself, once I have money, then I'll hire a coach so I can be wealthy and successful. And if you think about that, that's backwards thinking. Once I have money, then I'll do the very thing that would create money. Doesn't make sense. So I realized I needed to flip that. I looked at my life and I said, what do I want to have long term? I want to have these incredible things. I want to have these beautiful homes and cars and all these material things, which by the way, having material things is not bad. No matter what anyone tells you, it is not bad to have material things. Material things are beautiful. That is just a rationalization of people that are poor to make sure they feel certain in their times of scarcity. So what we need to do is adopt this mindset that having things is a beautiful thing. And I'm very passionate about that because I used to feel differently. I used to feel, I don't need that. I can survive on less. But then I realized, why not have those things? So anyways, I took a look at those things saying like, what do I want to have long term? I want to have all these beautiful things. These things, I want to serve people all over the world. I want to make all this incredible income. Great. What would I already be doing? I'd already have a coach. I'd already be investing in myself. I'd already be going to seminars and reading books on these topics. And who do I need to be now? And I realized I need to be wealthy now. Now that was a profound thought in my life. I need to be wealthy now. And that's my calling for you today, to be wealthy now if you're in a place where you don't have the financial independence yet. Now, that doesn't mean spend money like an idiot. There is a science to achievement, right? If you spend more than you earn, you will not create financial independence, right? That's kind of like going against the laws. I'm not saying spend money like an idiot and being like, oh, woohoo. That's not what I'm saying. Be intelligent. I'm saying the feelings of wealth, that needs to come first. And that's what I teach people to do, how to rewire your mind and how to feel wealthy and abundant and alive. When you do this, not only do you notice that money and success just kind of floods you. Someone told me early on that when you create success, it will happen so fast you won't even realize what hit you. And I was like, okay, monster man. But then the more and more I practiced this, being wealthy before I had financial independence, it happened. It like unlocked and things just started flying to me. And all of a sudden, my life just took off. And it was this exponential hockey stick of a growth. And it allowed for so many freedoms in our life. We ended up buying our dream home on a lake. We ended up buying our wonderful, car, traveling the world, donating tens of thousands of dollars to charity, hiring a team, being able to help pay their mortgages. Incredible things. Incredible things have happened. And that's possible for you too. You can have all of these things, but you need to rewire your mind from a place of, I'm going to try to get beyond scarcity, to a place of, I'm going to start beyond scarcity. And when you do that, when you rewire your mind to start beyond scarcity, start in a vibrancy of wealth, all of a sudden you have more energy, more aliveness, more creativity to be able to create all of the things that would tangibly bring you financial independence. Does that make sense? But it starts by rewiring your mind. And if you're having a hard time with this, if you feel like you don't know what's going on up here in your noggin that's keeping you stuck in some way, my challenge to you is to take our What's Your Unique Success Archetype quiz. Chances are there are some beliefs you have based on your success archetype that are causing you to act in the way that you're acting or feel the way that you're feeling, that's preventing you from being wealthy before you have the financial independence. And once you identify that, once you have self-awareness of what that is, you can start the process of changing it. So you can find that at quizzes.bradbizjack.com. It's totally free, takes 60 seconds. It will tell you exactly what your unique success archetype is, so you can see what's preventing you from having that mindset of wealth. What's preventing you from feeling fully alive and vibrant before you have the money, because that's the key to creating the money. And you can find that at quizzes.bradbizjack.com, or we've linked it up below this. But here's my calling for you today. Be wealthy before you have the funds. And if you're wealthy before you have the funds, then you put yourself in a state to be able to create the funds. But if you go through your life saying, I need to earn my way to happiness, you'll never get to happiness. If you can't be happy with a dime out of $1, then you won't be happy. I should say, if you can't be happy earning $1, you won't be happy earning 100,000. You have to start at that lower level. It's kind of like money is a magnifier. If money is a magnifier of your current emotional state. And so your dominant emotional state. And so what I mean by that is, if you're scarce and fearful and tired and exhausted with $1 in your bank account, you'll be 100 times more exhausted with $100,000 in your bank account, because what you'll find is you'll have the money, but you haven't changed the source of what's going on. Then you'll think more and more and more will make you happy. It's not how it works. So we need to be happy with the small amount, and that will allow you to put yourself in the state to create the larger amount and actually have it matter. The last thing you want is to be the poor rich man. That's the last thing you want. So if you're struggling with this and you have a hard time being wealthy before you're financially independent, take the What's Your Unique Success Archetype quiz. We've linked it up below. If you found value in this episode today, make sure you screenshot it, share it in your story, share it with other people. This can change people's lives. This is how I rewired my mind to become successful. And it's what I'm challenging you to do as well. You have to rewire your mind, rewire your subconscious thoughts. We have something special coming up to show you how to do that. But for now, start here. Be wealthy before you are financially independent, and you will gain that financial independence. So thank you so much for tuning into the Path to Mindset Mastery today. My name is Brad Bizjack. Go there today and every day and live your life with a genuine smile on your face. I'll see you next week.